Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Growth Hacks Experiences. My name is Juan from Inspiral Growth. I'm honored today to host a colleague from the CBC coaching program, Dr. Daphne Hering. Now, Daphne not only has done in-depth studies in business administration and entrepreneurship, but she also leads ventures in terms of supporting migrant-focused startup ventures around the world. Now, this is something that indeed resonates with us in South America, for me as a person from Ecuador, in so many levels. So I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to talk with you, Daphne. How are you?
Thank you so much, Juan, for having me. It's such a deep honor and pleasure to be here today with me. And yes, thank you. I'm very well.
Super. Fantastic, lady. So going to the topics of entrepreneurship and academia, something that is quite a dance and quite a ballet you are having in your life, Daphne. Could I ask you, what do you consider are like the skills that are necessary in order to balance academia and entrepreneurship?
Well, there are two different, very interesting fields, right? I have left academia by now, which I think is important because I realized I'm more of an entrepreneur, a builder and doer. Even though I'm deeply grateful for the in-depth academic experience that I went through when I started, pursuing my PhD and doing a lot of research around migrant entrepreneurs and how migrant entrepreneurs perceive business opportunities and how this migration experience actually enhances their capacity to see business opportunities. And actually, I was just reflecting about it today that I'm so deeply grateful for a couple of collaborations that I had with amazing researchers to just go into such depth of theories, building new theories, developing, thought-provoking ideas. Sometimes though I was lucky, I have to say. I was at the chair of entrepreneurship at the Technical University of Berlin, which is very closely connected to a venture builder, which they have at the technical universities, University of Berlin, where they're basically trying to take, ideas that have been developed in research and then put them basically on the entrepreneurial journey and bring them out of the scientific field into the business field. So I was always on that verge, which was really wonderful. But now I'm very grateful that I can use a lot of the research that I have developed to start building my companies, which I think I'm really excited about. And it's a bit of a different field, obviously. There's a lot more dynamic. It's good to have a wealth and depth of knowledge, which you need in terms of understanding a problem that you want to solve. But then it's a lot about, obviously fast-paced doing certain things in a very structured manner. But, structuring is also amazing in research and in academia. I love that. And to bring it out into the world. But it also takes a lot of creative capacity to find, yet again, new pathways, because obviously, entrepreneurship is always about failure and we're all failing forward constantly. So we have to embrace the failure and creatively find new solutions on our path to, find or build the solutions necessary for certain problems.
Wonderful. That indeed that you mentioned about the way how we discover what works and not, by really not being afraid of failure, just and in some sense actually to fail as fast as possible to understand what you get. Yeah, I went also to a German university, but in Kiel. So it's really great to see this mentality as well from technical universities. I consider that was also the base of all my vision of how I do see things in business. being practical, being fast in solving solutions, and not being afraid to fail. Great.
Yeah. And this, this thing about, embracing failure. I mean, it's not that I was always good at that, but I'm getting better and better. And I mean, as you know, having been at a German university, the German culture is not so good about, embracing failure. So you have to move out of the cultural comfort zone and move into it. So yeah, but it's
Wonderful.
important.
Now, Daphne, in this spectrum of test and trial of understanding what's going on in around the communities where you were involved, what are the skills that you would recommend a migrant founder, a migrant entrepreneur to gain in order to succeed in the tech industry in Europe?
It's a very, very good question. I think generally what I see is, let me start a bit differently about what I found out and what I think where we need to move to, and what, migrant founders, what's essential to them. So one of the things, like the two key factors that I saw with migrant entrepreneurs in my research, is when they want to build businesses, they often face two major types of discrimination, and that is access to capital, be it to banks or VCs. And the other thing is access to networks. And when we look a little bit deeper into that, it's a trust issue, I would presume. No, I don't presume it. I think I know that. It's, and that's always the case wherever you go, that's nothing that relates only to Germany or anywhere. It's the same thing all over the place. So what happens is when migrants move into, when people move into a different country and become migrants, they have a wealth of experience. And due to the fact that they're in a new context, they have the capacity to see the world differently, which is beautiful. But they oftentimes, when building these ventures, they face these discriminatory factors. That's one of the reasons why I am building our venture firm. It's called Laurel Ventures, because we specifically invest into first-generation migrant entrepreneurs, in order to solve the problem around financial access, because I fully believe that those people who take the risk to move into a different country, to set up their lives basically from scratch, they have such drive, they have such stamina, so much persistence and resilience to go through an entrepreneurial journey too, right? Because you start from scratch, not knowing anything. In a new place, maybe something, I wouldn't say nothing, but it's, it does take you a little bit of motivation and like deeply internal drive to bring these ventures that you want to build forward, right? I think one of the key aspects of what you must embrace is the new culture. You have to get a deeper understanding of the new culture that you were in, to understand the bureaucracy, because there's always bureaucratic processes. We can't really go about them. In Germany, they're specifically tough. So I need to find a solution on how we can make that easier for them. But then the language is essential, because obviously the target markets that you serve, it always depends. You can build a global product where it's not necessary to have the local language, but if you want to operate in a local market, you need to have an understanding to also understand, the cultural nuances that are not necessarily only in a written or a spoken sentence, but in between the lines. I think I did one of the studies that was related to cultural distance and opportunity identification. And I saw that migrants who have a certain distance to the local culture that they're embedded in, but not a wide distance, they see the most business opportunities, which means you have this clash in culture and context, but you understand, you have a deeper understanding or an easier access to understanding the local culture. And that's one of the key skills also when you want to, build trust with, with financiers, with whichever ones they are, and get access to the networks. I mean, that's obviously also a cultural thing. Some cultures are more open to open their networks, and others are very closed, and then it's more difficult to get access. And you need networks, right? I mean, you need networks to find investors, to find, use them as when you're on your recruiting scheme, and try to find the right people for your company to work with, exchange ideas around, certain thoughts that you have on how you want to build your business, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I guess that's a couple of the critical things that you need to embrace to
Wonderful. Wonderful. And you're taking action. That's amazing.
Yes, of course, we're taking action.
You're taking action as well with this as a serial entrepreneur with these ventures. I mean, I completely agree. Those 2 points are essential. And you, by creating vessels of companies that address each of these points, amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of the community of Latin America, I was saying that that's amazing to have these connections. I'm part of these communities, some of these communities, especially in Ecuador and Colombia. So I will make sure for them to know that there are companies like yours existing in Europe helping. Contacting them, if I may ask as well, we're talking about culture. And there is a interesting indeed, because we need to reprogram ourselves to understand the culture where we are launching this this new venture, this new startup. But then it comes about also the second part. I will even dare to say how you see it, the path between being a person that has an idea and becoming the entrepreneur that you must be to create that idea to a higher level. How it has been that journey of entrepreneurship for you as well?
For me, in having I think that's kind of an ongoing journey, right? I wouldn't say that I'm already there, right? It's like a constant quest for growth, I would presume, or at least for me. I think one of the things, so let's put it that way. I had a wonderful experience this May when I was in Israel, and I did a military training in Israel, which was super interesting in terms of, the question of, how the military in Israel aligns on a mission when they need to achieve some kind of an output. And I talked to the head who was basically organizing all of this to us. And I said, how do you do this? I mean, how do you manage to have all of your, thoughts aligned, yourself aligned on that project, but also everyone in your company to basically move forward, right? And he was saying 2 interesting things. The first thing is the alignment around values, that, they have a clear set of values which they reflect on an everyday basis. And the other thing is, he said, you always have to be prepared to fail every single day. And the third thing he said is, you always have to be a lighthouse of an example. And when I put that to my own, entrepreneurial journey, what I do every day, I have to be my own lighthouse, right? So, I have my very special morning routine where I set myself up to focus on what I need to achieve on that day to move forward. And I have to be prepared to be always failing, which is not my most that's totally out of my comfort zone. So I have to push myself out of the comfort zone every single day. And one of the things that I realized with the ventures that I'm building, they're very much aligned with my values. And beyond thinking about how I can serve humanity with the things that I do. And all the things that I'm building at the moment are related to exactly that. So I have, let's say, a guiding star that is this idea of serving humanity, which is aligned to my values, that I'm failing forward every single day. I'm trying to take massive, messy action every single day. And I'm also failing at that. Sometimes it's more and less messy. But, I envision every morning, I envision where I need to go. So I see like my very clear vision in front of me every single morning. And that helps me to align how I have to show up every single day in order to build this. And even though, oftentimes I feel it's all too slow, but I have to give myself a little bit of grace on that. But I try to imagine where I need to be in 3 and 5 years in order to build what I want to build and how I want to build it. And I need to push myself out of the comfort zone every single day to become more and more of the person that, needs to be the person that I see in 3 to 5 years. I hope that answers your question well.
Definitely, indeed, definitely. It resounds in so many levels, because there was a small quote I got very recently where I was mentioning the fact of that just in the moment when you think that life is completely under control, suddenly it puts you on a path that is completely unknown.
That's right.
Then it's come, how do you react to it?
That's right.
And having their values, having this sense of clarity helps a lot indeed. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
And Daphne, if considering now from the landscape from Europe, how do you see actually what's going on? Not only from the researchers and the companies that are working, but what's going on now with the changes in globally in terms of technology, in terms of the way how we migrate as well. How do you see actually the landscape coming in the next years in Europe? What do companies should?
You mean from a migration standpoint?
Yeah.
So my thought around this is I'm pretty grateful for the technological advancement on many levels. Nevertheless, I mean, we are facing severe changes in terms of the climate change that is happening already and will become more and more severe. And with that on the rise, we will see more, local conflicts, and we will see migration streams globally that we've never seen before. I'm pretty convinced about that. And because of that, I think we must find pathways of helping migrants to integrate faster and better into societies, because they will be on the move, and for very good reasons. And I think in Europe, at least, I don't think we are prepared for that. And that's why I believe we must find, we must start thinking about potential solutions now, in contrast to doing that in 10 years when we will have waves we will not know how to deal with. And my take is, if you want to integrate people into a society, the one and only and first measure of doing that is always labor market integration. And that is a very tough thing to do. It's not necessarily a tough thing to do. I think it's actually not so difficult, but societies at this point in time make it difficult. And the question is there any pathway on how we can build more trustful, more pathways that are related deeply to humanity, and seeing, people as, human beings with dignity that, are trying to make a new living or build a new life, and how we can support each other and how we can give one another in both ways and embrace the beauty of that diversity, instead of just saying, oh my God, there's change coming. We don't want change because change is scary. I want to change that, whole mindset around it. So yeah, that's pretty much my perspective, I think, on
Wonderful. Indeed. Would you consider that Sketch is your second company is one that is placing as well an effort on this
Yes.
reintegration?
Yes, absolutely. You know what we're building with Sketch? I want to build a skill matching platform that on the one hand helps migrants who want to integrate into the labor market to have a platform where they can find employers. I mean, that's nothing necessarily new. You can always go to LinkedIn, right? But one of the things that happens over and over again is that migrants are employed on a skill level that is way below of their capacities. And one of the reasons is that, certificates are not accepted and so on and so forth. So what I want to do is I want to do a skill level assessment that helps migrants to understand their degree of skill at that point in time, but also lets employers understand the degree of the degree of their skill in order to match them to jobs on eye level. Because not only do we waste a lot of individual potential with not employing migrants on their according to their skill level, the other thing that we do is we're wasting massive economic potential. And for Germany, we're talking about billions of euros every single year regarding our GDP, which we're wasting because we're not employing migrants according to their skill level. And that's a waste in so many directions. And neither do we have time, nor do we have the capacity to actually do that. And this is, that's a problem that I want to solve with Sketch.
Wonderful, wonderful indeed. I consider that I could completely agree. This is something similar that we are also looking to help with in Inspire Growth. Talking about that sense, Daphne, and now that you were mentioning, I was in a German school back in Ecuador. That's how I came to Germany. It opened me the opportunities, and there is also a community behind that there that follow us and considers always about the opportunities of coming to Germany. May I ask you, what will be some advices you will give a young graduated person that is just starting their path on discovering what they want to do? I have some people so close to me that they want to be doctors, sometimes that they want to be engineers, that they want to come to Europe and discover what they could excel in life. What will be the advices that you will give them now that they're just starting that career in connection with what this discussed about what's happening in Germany?
I want to share a story. I want to share a story of our babysitter. Her name is Katie. And Katie is basically a family member. She comes from Colombia, actually.
Nice.
And she had a law degree already, and then she wanted to go to the US, and then figured out, well, the US is not really my place. I want to move to Germany. So she started working as an au pair, but then really wanted to come to Berlin. And she had nothing, like no support, not knowing anybody, nothing. But when I look at her, one of the things that I deeply, 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 deeply admire, she has this drive. She would not take any no as an answer, never. She wouldn't take no for an answer. She would always find something. So she would find a job. She would find her language classes. She would do everything. She would find a flat, no matter how complicated it was, so on and so forth. And that's basically how she manages her life. I mean, she's now, you probably know that university. She's now at Humboldt University.
Beautiful.
Doing her law degree, and she's, she has another year and a half, and then she will be, a certified lawyer in Germany. This woman is a phenomenon, I tell you. She's amazing. So she has she has set up all of the salary that she needs in order to get the appropriate visas that she needs to have in order to stay, in order to study. She finds the best universities. She does everything that she can to improve her German, to just become better and better and better. And she has this drive, and she's not taking no for an answer. She has this drive. She does not sit anywhere. It's not that, well, my life is such and such, so I'm going to complain about it. She would never complain. She may say at some point, well, that's a disaster, but I'll get up and I'll change it and I find a solution no matter what. And she is a role model. I'm so deeply grateful that she's working with us. I mean, our kids, we have 4 kids, as you know, they love her. And she's a family member. She brings all of this Latin vibe into our family, which I totally love. But, when I look at her stamina, when I look at her focus, her dedication, and this amazing strength, I'm in total awe. I mean, I'm in awe. And I think if I see her, that's the advice I can give everybody else. If you master it that way, you master it anywhere.
Wonderful story. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you. Indeed, those are the powerful stories that we need in order to understand that everything is possible if we put our mind.
Yes, exactly. I fully agree, Juan.
The Humboldt University. My schools in Ecuador are the Humboldt Schulen.
Wow, cool. What a connection.
So it's funny to hear. I'm very grateful about so many things and initiatives that Germany has done as well in South America to grow the chances, the quality of life in South America. And that's what we want to keep doing as well.
Brilliant. Go for it. I love that.
So Daphne, now it's amazing, and I know how valuable your time is. So I want to ask you one question that is more of an inspiring one.
Please.
Daphne, if you had a billboard in the moon and you had one message to give to the world, what would it be, and how did it come to affect you in your life?
Oh, now you're asking me something. A billboard on the moon. And you know what I think? I would write one sentence, and that is, you are enough and you are perfect. That is what I would write. And the reason is why, the reason behind it is I'm going through quite a transformational period in my time now. And I realized that this is exactly what I've been longing for a very, very long time in my life. Understanding that the way that I am is perfect. I do not have to box myself into any kind of cultural rules or social rules. I'm allowed to shine my light, and this light is actually needed in this world. Even if at some point we don't know what it may be or what we are here for, we have the capacity to figure that out. But being truly and authentically you and yourself is what the world needs. And that's why I would write, you are enough and you are perfect.
Wonderful. Daphne, that it has been an honor indeed. Thank you for this wise time, these golden nuggets of wisdom. And we will make sure indeed to share with all of our communities from South America and from Europe. Daphne, if one of these interested entrepreneurs and lucky person that may be able to get in touch with you, how would it be best for them to get in touch with you?
Well, the best way, I think, to make it very easy is via LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile, maybe you can share it in the notes.
Yeah.
With a message. If there is a message, then I'm great. I'm very happy to answer and get in touch. Exactly.
We for example, an entrepreneur that is looking to expand to Europe will be quite interested as well.
Wonderful. No, it's my pleasure. I'm very happy if I can be of service.
Daphne, it has been a pleasure.
It's an honor. Thank you so much, Juan, for your time and for having my thoughts on your beautiful and amazing podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you very much for visiting us. If you would like to know more about Daphne, please share us your questions, your comments, and we will make sure actually to get the information to the right place. Daphne, have a wonderful time.
And you too, Juan. Bye. Take good care. It was lovely to be here with you.
Ciao.